Hello and happy new year to everybody. My name is Mark Needham. I'm the hybrid workplace lead at Cisco, working in the EMEA collaboration sales and strategy team. This recording today is brought to you with Cisco and N4 Engage to really speak to you about the journey to a hybrid workplace. What can you expect to see moving forwards and how you can prepare your organization for this. So we're going to start off defining what a hybrid workplace is. Then we're going to go through the steps required to kind of realize that so you can unlock the huge benefits that come from this way of working. So as everybody knows, 12 months ago, the majority of the workforce would go to an office every day. Clearly, since then, many of us have spent the bulk of our time, if not all our time, working at home. And moving forwards, as you're seeing more and more countries open up, we're seeing this kind of blended experience where people choose when to work at home, when to work at the office, and in between. Pardon me. And really what this is, it's the next wave of workplace transformation. So if you think about like the 70s and the 80s, you had these dreary grey cubicle workplaces, all about individual work. Then we move to what many of our offices are, kind of agile workplace design, far more engaging, open plan, a much nicer environment to be in. And now we're moving into this hybrid workplace. And what this is, it's about an individual autonomy, allowing you to choose when to be in the office, when to be at home, when to work somewhere different in between the two, and to find your own natural rhythm across the day so you can be the best version of yourself at home and in the office. And commonly we speak to some customers and partners, and they'll be like, well, hybrid working is just flexible working. What's the difference? And they're very, very different things. So first, if you think about flexible working, it's limited. It relates to a specific persona that has the opportunity to work from home at a fixed time. Hybrid working is the entire workforce having this opportunity to work in a hybrid fashion. It becomes the consistent experience. It becomes your day-to-day experience rather than the exception. Flexible working is also very structured. On a Friday, you can work from home and do these tasks, for example. Hybrid working is truly autonomous, allowing you to choose when you're going to be in which location and what you're going to do at each of those locations. Flexible working is also very location centric. You're in a either or scenario where you're either at the office or you're at home. Hybrid working is where you have freedom to choose where you're going to work, when you're going to work, and how you're going to work. And flexible working is still very time orientated. You will be at home working between 9 and 5, where hybrid working totally changes that. It's all about the results. So yes, you may work 9 to 5 some days. Some days you may have short days. Some days you may have longer days. But it's all about working in whatever fashion you need to realize the results you're trying to achieve. And that is the key distinctions between flexible working and hybrid working, and why they're not the same, and also why hybrid working brings so much more value to you as an organization. And the business case for it is undeniable. You'll see real estate optimization, you'll see reduced travel spend, you'll see increased productivity, reduced employee turnover, and much greater organizational agility, which is so important in the dynamic times that we have today. So how do you go about kind of making this a reality? How do you go about putting this in practice? So there's three elements which fuse together to build out a hybrid workplace. 94% of employees want better tools for their at-home experience. 97% want changes to be made to their workplace to make them feel safer at work. And 96% want a more intelligent workspace to give them that better experience than they can get at home to even motivate them to go there. And we're going to talk about each of these in turn. So when COVID first landed, everybody clearly's first question was, we have all these internal teams, what do we do? We need them to be able to meet with each other. And that was where this kind of was the go-to first response to allow people, once people got sent home. And at that point in time, we were the number one meeting platform globally with 200 million business users a month. We still are number one for business users at 600 million business users. Huge numbers which have chosen to work with WebEx to support their organization through this time. Now, It's not just about meetings, though. You need to allow your entire organization to do their entire role from wherever they may be. So you're going to have these are the kind of personas we see. Those that are highly mobile, they ebb and flow from location to location, and a mobile first experience is what's most important. You're going to have remote concentrators that are predominantly doing head down work on their laptop. So everything becomes that soft client, their calling, their meetings client, their team solutions all reside on a laptop. Then you move to those that have a greater collaboration need, a remote communicator or a remote collaborator. And this has an impact on the tools they need to be able to be effective in their roles. And we're going to talk about those. So, regardless of which one of these personas feels like you or your team, it's about allowing them to do every aspect of their job from wherever they may be. Just giving your staff a meetings client isn't good enough. They need to be able to have a full collaborative suite, which is part of a single platform. They need to be able to document share, provide persistent messaging, co-creation, calling, and teaming. But not only do you need to be able to do that with your internal teams, very few people only work with people inside their organization. You will always have these external stakeholders that you need to be able to collaborate with in exactly the same way, but in a most secure fashion. And this is the unique scenario where only Cisco can provide that to you. You also need to think about the applications within your organization. So all the innovation on the collaboration side of things flows into the cloud contact centers to allow you to maintain those rich customer relationships, even when your call center is not open. You have line of business apps where people do the bulk of their kind of core aspects of their role. You can take this entire collaboration experience and integrate it into the heart of the line of business app. Then once you've got that single experience, it needs to be consistent, whether you're at home, on the move, in an office, whether you're using a laptop, a phone, a tablet, or an endpoint in a meeting room. You need a ubiquitousness of experience to drive that maximum adoption and to get those productivity gains which people are looking for. For those heavy collaborators that have a dedicated meeting space, at home they need a dedicated video endpoint. Even pre-pandemic, 84% of the UK population struggled with hunched over laptop syndrome. And this, where people spend their day hunched over a laptop, as the name suggests. It's bad for their health and well-being. It's why ergonomics is so important in workplace design. But you're not having an ergonomic assessment at your home office. You need a dedicated video endpoint to make you fit and healthy when you're working, but it will also ensure that you're far more engaged in your meetings. You become less tired from going meeting to meeting, and it's a much better experience for those people on the far end and you yourself. Now, clearly, not everybody's going to have a dedicated office, dedicated space to work from home. So you need that same experience, but in a smaller form factor, where you can take that to common areas of your home. In this image here, we're seeing somebody that has a dedicated video endpoint on their TV in their lounge, because that's where they work when they're at home. For those people that are kind of remote concentrators, for those people where they need that mobile first experience or in a shared space, you need an enterprise grade, centrally managed business headset that provides sound deafening, it provides speech augmentation, it gives you everything you need for you to have a great experience and the people on the far end, wherever you may be. So that's the kind of remote work element and kind of what's needed to allow people to thrive when they're at home for that aspect of their hybrid work style. The second element is this: how do you plan a safe return to the office? And there's some key things which are happening here. So people do want to go back to an office, but they're going back for different reasons. They want to get them and continue to do their head down work from home, but they're going to be doing their richest collaboration. They're going to the office for rich social needs, and that has an impact on workplace design and how you manage their in-office experience. There's really three key things that need to happen. The workplace is going to need to become more informative. The workplace is going to need to become more intelligent, and the workplace needs to become more collaborative. And we'll speak about each of these in turn. And you'll see common threads about questions and news articles about, is the office dead? Do we still need offices? 100% Yes, you do. So this is our new office in Chicago. You'll see that Apple are taking over the iconic Battersea Power Station in London, and Facebook have taken over the kind of one of the most iconic buildings in New York. So there will still be a need for an office, but people are just going to be using it in different ways. They may not be there 5 days a week. Um, and they're looking for different outcomes when they do go into the office. And I'm going to use our Chicago office as a kind of case study about a safe return to the office to let you understand the things that need to be taken into account. Because what you're really trying to do is manage two conflicting elements. You're trying to create an environment where you reduce physical human contact, but people are only going to that environment because they want to have human contact. So how do you balance those two elements? So we have a quarter of a floor in this building, and you can see from this floor plan I'm sharing here, it is a significantly large building. It's 70% engineering, 20% sales, and 10% customer. And the designs for this building were actually done pre-COVID. And you don't need to do a rip and replace of your workplace, a rip and replace of your working environment. What you need to do for a post-COVID world is look at how you can make intelligent and adaptive workplace design decisions, which not only support you for the current term as people enter the office when the restrictions are in place, but for the longer term as well. So, making the workplace more informative is the first area to talk about. You need to foster that confidence and greater communication with your employees and your actually IT and facilities staff about how the workplace is being used and that it is a safe place to be. So you need mass digital signage to communicate to your employees, be that on the screens where you have video endpoints, be that just on every other bit of glass in the common areas across the office. That signage to communicate what needs to be shared with your employees. You need those interactive kiosks so you can more easily find where you need to get to and work out how to get there so you minimize accidental interactions with others. You need to do real-time density monitoring to ensure that the right capacity is maintained in your office based on the rules and restrictions where you may be. And then you can provide that as a content feed to your digital signage so people know they're in a safe place. My office is at 45% capacity. I'm safe here. The office is at 98% capacity. Maybe I need to go and work somewhere else. Maybe there's another floor I can go to. Or maybe I just won't come to the office today because I'm just worried about the density there. Those same types of personalized notifications can be delivered to the clients, to the WebEx app on your phone, on your devices, before you leave home, as you arrive at the office, when you arrive upon a floor, and as you go around the office. So you get real-time personal information to ensure that you're safe and you have confidence in the place you may be. For the IT teams and facility teams, you need to obviously orchestrate that movement and the flow of people in the office. How many rooms do I need? You don't want to have too many rooms, you don't want to have too few rooms, and you can have less people in those rooms. So real-time room and desk occupancy is hugely important, and how you communicate that and make that bookable to your employees. And all these things together are surfaced as workplace analytics to help the facilities team make better decisions, to keep people safe, to make people want to use the office, and to make people feel confident that it's where they want to be. Then now we're going to look at our engineering neighborhood. So some of the changes we made here. So since the initial designs in a post-COVID world, there are now no executive offices in the engineering neighborhood. This allowed us to double the number of huddle spaces because you need more collaborative spaces because people are only going to the office to collaborate. But also at the moment, what was a huddle room for 3 or 4 people cannot be a huddle room anymore because for social distancing reasons, you can only have 1 or 2 people in that room. So what was a huddle room is becoming a jump room for individuals to jump in, take a call, move a project forwards and jump out. What was a large room is now a huddle room. And you can obviously see how we have all shapes and sizes and rooms in the designs here. And every room is bookable. We had this concept of proxy booking where some rooms you couldn't book or only certain people could and had to do it on your behalf. Because it's going to be a more dynamic environment, people are only going there to collaborate. Every single space is bookable for every employee. And across all the floors, this is how we bring that greater intelligence to that workplace experience. So we have sensors built into all the video endpoints to go in the meeting rooms. We have sensors built into the desk hubs, which go on your hot desks and your desks across the office. These track things such as heating, lighting, humidity, air quality, acoustics, everything you need to create a safe environment. And all these data points can become triggers into your smart building integration, triggers which put up the blinds, turn on the aircon, or help advise where you need to look at the acoustics and make changes to your organization, to your building. Obviously, we need to look at real-time space management, better scheduling of the desks, better scheduling of the meeting spaces so that people know if they need a room, they can get in there. Pardon me. And when they have a room, we need to use intelligent wayfinding to allow them to plan in real time how they can get there in a way that minimizing unwanted interactions, because with unwanted interactions comes risk. Where you're leveraging a room that isn't bookable or that you haven't actually booked but is available, as soon as you walk into that room, that automatically books it for you as an individual. And when you leave that room, that booking is released to make that space available to other members of staff, maximizing your footprint and how you use the space. And in the rooms, the entire collaboration experience is touchless, is contactless. You do not need to touch a single thing in a room. You can control the entire experience via wireless proximity via your devices, be that your laptop, your phone, your tablet. You have voice commands to control the meeting room. So all really seamless, intuitive experiences which keep people safe, but still allow them to get the rich interactions they want from that office environment. And all this intelligence can also be used and built into processes around automation and triggers and alerts to look at end-to-end processes to make them safer and more engaging for everybody in the workplace. We've done some quite cool things with the sales aspect of this building. So we've already spoke about the need for more collaboration spaces, but what we also have here are there's less desks, but also different types of desks to what we would have put in place. Um, as you mentioned, people aren't going down there are not going into the office for head down work. They're going there for kind of safe social interactions and collaboration, and they're going there for more informal meetings, not formal meetings. So what does that mean? What's the impact of that? Well, you can see we've got lots of these kind of jump spaces, these individual rooms just for one person. You still have your traditional training rooms. You have no kind of cubicles. You have big open plan desks which allow you to collaborate with people nearby. But the whole concept is you'll kind of be hanging out on these desks, socializing, speaking to your colleagues, but not really you're not doing work there. When you need to collaborate or ideate or move a project forwards, you'll jump into one of the rooms. Then you come back to the open plan area where you can just kind of move your day forwards based on whatever you need to do. And then what we created as part of this is what we call a grand community lounge, which is this area on the left. So we're seeing a transition to open collaboration spaces. So think about the grand community lounge as a fusion of a WeWork-like environment blended with a business class lounge at the airport. You've got a coffee machine, you've got big sofas, you've got funky furnishings, you've got a really lovely environment where you can hang out in between meetings, in between journeys, to interact with colleagues and do the bits of work you need to do at that point in time. So when I talk about new types of spaces, the first one we're going to talk about are jump rooms. So whether you call these a phone box, whether you call these a focus room, different organizations have different linguistics. But what these are, and you'll notice there were several of these in the drawings we went through, these are individual spaces where you jump in, take a call, phone call, video meeting, and jump out. You use them when you need privacy and you just need to speak to somebody that's not in that location. Get what you need and move on. They provide very easy provide much greater capacity for collaboration in that location. And then we have what we call kind of community tables. So officially, the one on the left is called a harvest table. The one on the right is called a library table. So why are these tables so unique? Why are they new? So some people think that when they go back to an office, they're going to get their cubicles back. They're going to be boxed in. And yeah, that's fine. That's a fine way to keep you safe if you're only going to go, if you're only in the office to do head down work, if you're not going to the office to collaborate with others. But people aren't going to the office to be doing head down work. They're only going there to collaborate with others. So you need bigger spaces, bigger tables where you can collaborate over the table, along the table, with people behind you in a more kind of natural ebb and flow way. You wouldn't really set up camp on these locations for the day, but it allow you to do everything you need from socializing, head down work, brainstorming, um, to move your various projects forward. And across all these shapes and sizes of rooms and open plan spaces, as you said, you need that ubiquityness of experience. From the largest to the smallest room, you need that full experience. You need the sensing technology, you need the intelligence, you need contactless collaboration. People need to be able to feel safe in all your rooms. They also need to get the rich collaboration outcomes from every shape and size of rooms, and from the open plan, and from the hot desk. And no other vendor in the market can provide this to you. So where are we heading? What's next? So the vision, when you speak to G2 Patel, who runs our business, is about making the remote experience 10x better than being there. So what is better than being in a football stadium in this particular example here? It's a tough ask. I mean, I've got to admit, I love going to the live events, but it's about how you overlay the live match with data and insights and AI to give you a different experience, which is equally as engaging but richer, that can help you get better outcomes. And there's many different facets to this, and it's a very fast-moving space. As you would have seen in December at our WebEx1 event, we launched more than 50 new features, and the pace of innovation is incredible, and there's more and more coming. So, where we're heading are three key buckets. You need to look at more innovative ways to support a more dispersed workforce above and beyond what we're already doing. We need to look at even more engaging workplace experiences, and we need to look at entire work processes to rethink how work gets done. So, how do we increase the way we support a more dispersed workforce? Well, clearly, we need to create richer experiences, be that VR, be that AR, be that things we don't even know exist today, but things at the cutting edge which people need to have a much better experience when they're not in the same location as the people they're collaborating with. How we can help them with their digital serendipity. We need to find those new ways to keep employees connected and engaged. And it's really important to ensure that critical knowledge is captured and shared. Because outside of what's happening with COVID, there's a massive knowledge leak as the baby boomers from the post-war are going into retirements. And globally, they're retiring at the rate of 10,000 a day. And it's recognized that the next level executives and professionals in the workplace are not at their level yet. They haven't had the knowledge transfer they need to avoid disruption to the organization. So how can we support that? And that could be 4-day weeks, 3-day weeks. It could be keeping these retirees on call. So you allow them to sunset their career at a pace they choose to without exposing your organization to risk. And the same kind of idea flows into how we identify and develop talents. How do we find the people which will thrive in this new environment? And for those that do not, how do we help them learn how to thrive in this environment? When we talk about new workplace experiences, you had a little taste of this as you went through the content, but it's about delivering more targeted and personalized information about the work environment. And that's real-time insights to the individuals and to the people that run the buildings to give everybody a better experience. We need to look at how we develop solutions to make it easier to leverage workplace assets and resources. So that you've spoken about wayfinding for meeting rooms, but how do you orchestrate that movement inside the office, outside the office, from when you leave your house to when you get to the office and everything in between? How does all that come together to deliver a new workplace experience? And to look at how we can develop meaningful analytics. There's a huge amount of data, but what actually is the right data we should be tracking? What's the best way of interpreting that data? And how can you translate that into workplace performance and remediation efforts where they are required? And finally, my personal favorite, rethinking how work gets done. I think that every one of us can think of broken work processes in your organization, which are frustrating, which are time consuming. So how can you use the technology to blend all these processes together and re-envisage them so they cause less frustration, more automated, and less of a drain on our time. And that to do that, it's about how you use that technology to connect the value chains. And where there are open APIs, where you have imagination, where you take a clean slate of paper view at a process, there are huge gains that can easily be achieved. And looking at evaluating new ways of how we source and manage human capital. People now know en masse remote working, hybrid working works. So people do not only need to be able to recruit, for example, people that are in a commutable distance to London. Your recruitment pool could be 200 miles from your office, 500 miles, could be all across EMEA, it could be global. You can just focus on getting the best people from wherever they may be, because that human capital is what will drive your organization to innovate and move forwards and thrive. Now, this is only made scalable by having that single pane of glass management for all the hardware, all the software, your headsets, your phones, your video endpoints, your employees, your onboarding, that unified management of that experience, regardless of whether it's people that are in an office or dispersed across their homes, can all be done via what we call Control Hub. It's everything you need for your troubleshooting, everything you need for your diagnostics, and all the analytics, telemetry, and it's where you apply security to your employer workforce in one place. It really enables IT to scale and not find it a struggle. If we look at our own IT department, they speak about how they've gone from managing 200 offices, and yes, we are a large company, to 70,000 offices, as everybody is at home. And whether you have one office and 50 staff, is still a massive change to their need to be able to scale. So this is why that single pane of glass management for the entire experience is so important. And all your workplace analytics resides in the same place, so facilities can get that rich insight they need to optimize the workplace as people return. So wrapping up, hybrid working is the next wave of workplace transformation. It's about scale, it's about autonomy, it's about choice, and it's all about results. Collaboration technologies are the foundation of a hybrid workplace. They're feature rich, they bring intelligence, they're extensible, and they're secure. The transformation is multifaceted: how people work, where they work, and how they go about doing their entire jobs from wherever they may be. And the returns are hugely impactful. Real estate optimization, OPEX reductions, productivity increases, lower turnover, and greater organizational agility. You can read more on these themes if you go to futurework.webex.com. There's case studies, thought leadership, additional videos and content as you start planning your workplace return and your hybrid workplace future. Thank you very much for your time. My name is Mark Needham. I hope you have a fantastic day and look forward to being in contact in future. Thank you.